Nade videos suck, so I made this video to be a one-stop shop for every nade you need to know to get to a high level. If you want to go pro, you might need to learn more, but you can easily get to faceit 10 with just these 5 to 10 pieces of utility on every map. The sponsor of this video is Gosu Academy. I've run boot camps with them in the past, but this time I want to show you their alumni program. The Gosu alumni program is a consistently running course that meets 3 times a week and has tasks, accountability, and feedback directly from several esteemed coaches from HLTV ranked teams. The reality is that everything you need to learn in CS is out there online for free, but it's learning that's the hard part. And the reason these programs are useful is because hands-on learning is often known as a much more effective way to improve, and it helps you get past the information overload you might sometimes find on YouTube. You can use this program not only to improve, but to meet like-minded players that you can network with and will help you in the long term. The first 50 people to sign up with the code VOO will get a month for free, so go ahead, click the link in the description and try it out. For Inferno, I've got by far the most utility of any map, so we'll go first, and you're going to need to know some W jump throws, which I'll mention a little bit later how to do that. But to begin with, we have the mid utility that pretty much every team is throwing, and you can actually use it along with a flash to take mid solo if you need to, but I would suggest bringing a teammate. Then you've got this, which is a fast half-wall smoke. Admittedly, you might not need to know this, but it's insanely convenient and easy to remember. And then you've got the standard B-exec smokes. This is a coffin smoke here, and then the CT smoke is pretty simple as well if you want to throw it from further back, and that's going to be both easy. Then you've got the Nubox molly, and I saw this from Liquid. If you aim a little bit lower than normal, it's going to catch in the middle of Nubox, which will get on top and below Nubox, and it'll be a little bit harder to smoke off for the CTs. You've also got the God Flash, of course, which is going to blind pretty much everyone, and the God Flash for middle, or something like it, which is the flash to allow your teammates to peek boiler. Then you've got a pretty easy arch smoke here. You just get into this little dip in the ground and jump throw, very simple. And of course, you've got the standard Moto smoke. Then you've got the Furious smoke, or just the car one way I heard it called in Europe, which is going to allow your teammates to peek car and be very difficult to deal with, and it'll put out a molly to allow the peek to happen. And then this is just a small tip. If you're nading middle, instead of nading deep, nade it off the ground like I showed there, and it'll get people to jump into pit as well. Heading right over to Mirage, we've got A smokes. Just kidding, those will be later. We've got the fast B smoke, so you can throw these for a B rush, one of the most effective strats on second round force buys you can imagine, and you can combine them if you want with the window smoke for market, or you can throw this later in the round. Very simple throw, and if you get it right, it's going to land on the ledge. Then we got the mid smokes, of course, top middle from on top of the dumpster. Hold D for this jump throw to window, and unfortunately I couldn't get another one on 64 tick from the same angle, so you'll have to throw this one where you crouch walk forward and throw, but that'll land in window just fine as well. Then you've got this awkward top con smoke from outside A, but this does seem like the easiest way to throw it in this little awkward corner, and it'll land very consistently. And you've got the one from top mid where you have to put your pin towards that antenna there, as you can see on the right side of the screen. And there should be a better lineup, but I'm not sure there is, so that's the one we're still throwing. And then, of course, we've got the A smokes. And the jungle smoke is the main one you need to know, because I promise your teammates will always know at least stairs smokes, if not CT as well. But this is all 3, and they land pretty effectively. And then on to Dust 2, where we've got the fast Xbox smoke from what is now a completely safe location, should land pretty well. And then you've got the slow one that's been around since about 2015, but is tried and trusted because you can use it really effectively on your own and play off of it. And then you've got the Rush long A corner smoke that's, you know, not perfect, but you can throw it yourself as the first player because your teammates will never throw the correct long A corner smoke from here that will actually land very comfortably in time for you to get out if they throw it well. So know both of them, as well as this mid to B smoke you can combine with a flash. And of course, they're going to hear that flash bounce if they're experienced, but if they're a little less experienced, they might not turn from it. And then you've got the complementary smoke with the mid B smoke, and you combine them together so one elevator can't see you at all. Then you've got the B doors smoke. There's a lot of leeway here as long as you don't hit the wood, so you can move your crosshair a little bit in from that corner. And you've got the standard A hit smokes, starting with the Vanguard smoke that's going to land on the jump up elevator box, and then you've got the standard lurk smoke. There's a few ways to throw this, but this is the easiest one, or the most common one that I've seen recently. And combined, they're going to look a little something like this, and it's going to be mostly a one-way heading onto site. Then you've got the car molly that everyone messes up. I use this as a W jump throw, but you can throw it with the same lineup or maybe a tiny bit lower as just a standard jump throw, and it'll be almost just as good. Then you've got the right side mid doors molly. You can throw this and then quickly start spamming because they're going to see it coming. And then you've got this molly you can throw just the same as the flash that I mentioned earlier, but of course you're not going to be able to come out mid with this one, but it will get both sides. Now in Nuke, there's a ton of smokes you could know, but the main ones you really need to know are going to be the standard cross smokes like this. These are both just normal jump throws, and then you can combine that with the lurk smoke that you should be throwing mostly every round unless you're throwing a different variation of smokes, and these smokes are going to land fine, no gap, and you can get across. Then you got the EG smokes, or they go by plenty of different names. They're going to have a slightly different lineup on 64 tick that you'll see here. But when thrown correctly, they're going to allow a cross towards garage. You can actually lurk through them, get flashed into mini, or you can smoke off garage as well and use them in a different way. You can actually cross all the way to secret with this if you want to, but you have to be careful because they can see you from heaven if you're too far back. Then you've got the squeaky resmoke, which is great if you're a heaven player or a rotator of any kind. It's a very simple resmoke. And then you've got this new school molly that everyone's throwing now because it completely stops fast outer plays. You're going to jump throw as you get onto that little ledge, and your opponents are going to have to sit behind it or smoke it off, and sometimes it'll even mess up their lurk smoke. Then on Overpass, honestly, this utility is more make or break than most maps, and this is a front bathroom smoke that will drastically increase your win rate, even though you don't necessarily need to know it in order to win at all. And you can throw the same front bathroom smoke, one of the easiest lineups in the game, from inside of this little slide in playground. And then you've got the divider Molotov. I hold shift and tap W as I throw it. You might not even need to do that, but it lands perfect if you do. Then you've got the fast short B molly as a T, which is one of the most commonly used mollies in the game. And the jump up smoke, you just tap S as you jump up there to get onto this bench, and that's going to be a simple jump up smoke. You can also throw one from long. You kind of have to practice this one a bit because it's mostly a winged smoke, but if you practice it just a little bit, you're going to get used to it, and it'll be a great smoke to throw. As well as a molly, you just hug that left wall. The molly towards the building, the smoke towards the tree, they're very similar. And then you've got a dice molly that will deal with operas. A lot of people don't know this, but it's insanely effective, and you can combine it actually with a truck flash that's going to blind a lot of the defenders on the A site and get everyone in this general area here. Then you've got the standard T stairs molly, actually really easy to throw. In fact, it's really easy to throw. In fact, it's almost impossible to miss it unless you just aim a little too high or too low. But you've got the deep monster smoke as well from spawn, very easy to throw as well, and your teammates will love you if you throw this for them once in a while. And you've got the fast short beam molly as a CT. You don't have to stop to throw this. You just hold double click and aim at the top of that tower. Most people think you have to stop, but you don't. Then unfortunately we moved to Vertigo before the newer maps. This is going to be your standard side haul smoke. You can throw from spawn and really do anything after, so it's a good smoke to throw most rounds. Then you've got a front sight smoke you can throw pretty safely. It'll just take a unreasonably long time to land. That's why I cut the video. And you've got the flashes you can throw to support your teammates. Amazing. It's groundbreaking stuff. Then you've got the A ramp one way. This was insanely effective for a long time. People are starting to figure it out, but if you play less experienced Vertigo players, it's still going to get you a lot of kills. Then you've got the standard A-site smokes, the ones that go back to the very beginnings of the map. That's left side. I just shift walk forward a step or two to throw the right side one, and you combine this with a Tetris molly. This is how I know how to throw it. You kind of aim near the top of that steel beam there, and it looks like it won't get the angle, but it does. Then you've got the B exec smokes. You crouch down, look at the top of the box, and stand up. And then this is the other one, of course, going to be a little different on 64 tick. It's going to smoke both sides of generator, and the first player can also combine with a molly to get default, and this is actually quite tough to deal with, especially if you combine it with a couple of flashes. Then you've got the, oh my god, amazing Guardian smoke from inside of middle. It's nice to know one from outside of middle, but it's not absolutely necessary. That's going to do just fine. And you've got the fast A ramp smoke for CTs. Make sure you aim at the correct tile. If you aim too high, it's going to miss entirely, but if you practice this enough, you're going to be able to get it without stopping to line it up at all. And here on to Ancient, this map has a ton of jump throws, which is annoying for 64 128 tick. For some reason, I put the Shelf Molly first, even though it's probably the least important one in the map, but it is very convenient if your teammates die to shelf peaks. Then you've got the Cave Smoke, and you've got the Pillar Molly. Pillar Molly, important to note, aim at the correct leaf. If you aim at that one, you're going to miss. You have to aim at this lower one, and if the smoke is up for Cave, it won't land. So you can either throw the molly, which will deal with Cave as well, or the smoke. Then the house smoke, you crouch to throw this one on 64 tick, but you're standing on 128 tick, and you can throw this one from inside of middle as well. If your teammates don't know how to throw it, at least you have the option to throw it for yourself. You also have the A smoke that you W jump throw this one. Same lineup for 64 and 128 tick because it's got lots of leeway. Just keep in mind they can actually be playing in that left side corner there and catch you off guard if you don't throw it perfectly. Then you've got the fast, not that fast, B ramp utility. This is mostly if you want to solo take deep B ramp. Keep in mind they could get in front of it potentially. Then you have the actually fast B lane molly. You have to hold mouse 1 and 2 to throw this, so make sure you have the right jump throw bind. I have it on screen now, but your opponents will have to smoke it off if they want to push Cave. And you have the correct donut molly. It seems really simple, and it is. Just bounce it off the wall there. People mess this up way too often. Anubis is still being figured out, but these seem to be the smokes that are going to be in use for a while. You just crouch for both of those to throw them on 64 tick. That's going to be a connector smoke and a mid-house smoke, and you can combine the mid-house smoke with this door smoke that's actually quite easy to throw. You can just throw a flash, and then you've got full mid control off of that. And this is an A util setup that almost every team is throwing. It's a W jump throw for the smoke, standard jump throw for the molly, then just left click a couple of flashes, and from the enemy POV, if you get the timing right, there's the smoke, there's the molly. He gets full blinded by the flash, but I threw it a little too early, so he does almost get himself a kill, but still very effective. And then moving over to B, you get on the left side of this little rock on the ground, and you jump throw this smoke to smoke off connector, which is going to be almost 100% necessary if you want to try and take this bomb site. The other smoke you can throw is over here. This is going to smoke off temple. Just make sure you aim at the correct thing on the wall, and then you can throw a flash at the other one as well. Just keep in mind there's a little bit of a gap on that left side, so someone could be there, but you can actually bait them into playing that. And then middle, you can open up with that molly. If you've got a good spawn, you can throw the nade as well, and you don't need to peek to throw that smoke. You can actually throw it in the exact same way. You just open with the molly so they don't get ahead of it. And finally, you've got the one way towards connector. Make sure you let it land before you actually use it, but if thrown correctly, especially if they smoke off connector, it gives you a little bit of a connection between the two smokes, and then you can get some free kills. So the W jump throw is very specific. Like a jump bind, it needs to be bound. You can't just do it yourself. You're going to need to put this into your auto exec. If you don't know how to make an auto exec, I'll link my settings video where I explain it. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, check out this other one that YouTube thinks you'll like.